An American EV priced for real people, built for real roads, this might be the electric SUV that finally makes sense. What if you could get at most of what makes an $85,000 electric SUV great, the power, the range, the adventure-ready spirit, for roughly half the price? That's exactly what Rivian is betting on with the R2. And after years of being the brand that only wealthy Californians and Hamptons vacationers could afford, Rivian is finally coming for the rest of America. I'm talking about the 2026 Rivian R2, the most important electric vehicle this company has ever made, and honestly, one of the most anticipated EVs in the country right now. So today, we're going to break down everything: the design, the performance, the tech, what's inside, how it stacks up against the competition, and the one big catch that every potential buyer needs to know about. Let's get into it. To understand why the R2 matters so much, you have to understand where Rivian has been. Since launching in 2021, Rivian has built a serious reputation for making incredible electric vehicles: the R1T pickup and the R1S SUV. These are genuinely impressive machines. They're fast, they're capable, they're packed with technology, and reviewers love them. The problem, they start at nearly $70,000 to $80,000 and easily climb past $100,000 when loaded out. That's a fantastic product for a small slice of America, but it's not a mass market car. Rivian knew that to survive and truly grow as a company, they needed a vehicle that millions of everyday Americans could actually consider buying. Enter the R2. This isn't just a new model, it's Rivian's shot at becoming a mainstream automaker, going head-to-head with the Tesla Model Y, the Ford Mustang Mach-E, and even popular gas-powered crossovers like the Honda CR-V and Toyota RAV4. The stakes could not be higher. Let's start with how it looks, because design is the first thing that's going to catch your eye at a stoplight or in a parking lot. The R2 is unmistakably a Rivian. It carries the same boxy, upright silhouette as the bigger R1S, and that's entirely intentional. Rivian's design team wanted the R2 to be instantly recognizable, the way you can throw a sheet over a Porsche 911 and still know what's underneath. The result is a compact SUV that looks refreshingly bold in a sea of cars that all seem to blend together. Up front, you get Rivian's signature vertical stadium-style headlights connected by a full-width light bar stretching across the hood. It's a distinctive look that's equal parts rugged and futuristic. The badge on the front fender actually doubles as a turn signal indicator, which is a cool little detail that shows how much thought went into every element. Around the sides, you'll notice flush door handles for a clean aerodynamic profile, roof rails ready for adventure gear, and black lower cladding that signals this thing isn't afraid of a dirt road. The rear keeps things clean and simple, with a horizontal red light bar and the Rivian name written in plain script. It's confident without being flashy. One of the smartest design decisions Rivian made was keeping the belt line low and the greenhouse, that's the glassy, windowed portion of the cabin, tall. This gives you unusually good visibility in all directions. The rear quarter windows even vent outward to increase airflow. And here's one feature that had reviewers genuinely excited. The rear window rolls down independently from the tailgate. So instead of swinging open the entire back hatch just to toss in a bag of groceries, you just tap 3 small lines on the exterior and the window drops down. There's even a switch inside the cabin that rolls down all 5 windows simultaneously with a single button. Small thing, but incredibly practical. Now let's talk performance, because the numbers here are seriously impressive for a vehicle at this price point. The launch version of the R2 is a dual-motor all-wheel drive setup, producing 666 horsepower and 609 pound-feet of torque. To put that in perspective, you're talking about a family SUV that rockets from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 3.6 seconds. That's supercar territory from a decade ago. The range is targeted at over 300 miles on the larger 87.4 kilowatt-hour battery pack, with numbers as high as 330 miles in optimal conditions. Charging is competitive too, from 10% to 80% in approximately 30 minutes. The R2 uses the NACS charging port. That's the Tesla-style connector that has become the industry standard in North America. So you'll have access to the vast supercharger network as well as other public chargers across the country. What makes the performance story even more interesting is what's happening underneath the car. Rivian built the R2 on an entirely new, lighter unibody platform, shedding roughly 2,000 pounds compared to its bigger siblings. Early reviewers describe the handling as unexpectedly strong, with steering that feels calm on the highway and nimble in tighter situations. One Top Gear reviewer called it immensely likable, which sounds understated until you realize that's high praise from a publication that tests Ferraris and Lamborghinis on a regular basis. Rivian also developed what they call the Treehouse, a unit that bundles the electronic control systems and battery management into a single compact module. This reduces the number of separate control units from 17 down to 7 and cuts wiring by 1.5 miles compared to the R1 platform. That kind of thoughtful engineering is what separates vehicles built to last from those that become nightmares to own after the warranty expires. Step inside the R2 and you'll find an interior that punches well above its price class. The overall aesthetic is upscale, outdoorsy minimalism, somewhere between a Range Rover and a Tesla, but with more warmth and personality than either of them. The dashboard runs horizontally across the full width of the cabin, with a large 15.6 to 15.9-inch central touchscreen and a separate instrument cluster, both tilted slightly for easier viewing while driving. The steering wheel features 2 large haptic control dials for primary functions, so your hands have a physical way to interact with the car. Storage is where the R2 really shines. There are 2 separate glove boxes, deep door pockets, a floating center console with a pull-out drawer, a dedicated tissue box compartment, and large open bins throughout. Up front, the front opens with a captive touch button and holds enough space for half a dozen grocery bags. In the rear, the second row seats fold completely flat, creating a genuinely usable camping-ready cargo area. The technology platform is called Rivian Unified Intelligence, or RUI. It includes a new Rivian Assistant that lets you control vehicle settings, plan routes, manage your calendar, and adjust climate entirely through natural voice commands. Rivian has also announced a paid autonomy subscription called Autonomy Plus, priced at $2,500 as a one-time purchase, or about $50 a month, a vehicle that gets smarter and more capable the longer you own it. So, how does it stack up against the competition? The R2's most obvious rival is the Tesla Model Y, which remains the best-selling EV in the United States. Tesla's advantage lies in its charging network, its production scale, and the maturity of its autopilot. But the R2 counters with a more rugged design, significantly more personality, better interior storage solutions, superior outward visibility, and a cabin that reviewers describe as genuinely fun rather than clinical. The base starting price of around $45,000 puts it directly in the crosshairs of mainstream EV crossovers. After applying the $7,500 federal tax credit that many buyers will qualify for, the effective entry price could drop to the high $30,000 range. That's the price of a well-equipped Honda Accord or Toyota Camry, but for a capable electric SUV with supercar-level acceleration and over 300 miles of range. Now, for the important caveat that every potential buyer needs to hear. The Launch Edition R2 will ship without LiDAR, the laser-based sensing technology key to more advanced levels of autonomous driving. Rivian has confirmed that LiDAR will be added to later production builds starting in early 2027, but there is currently no hardware retrofit path for early buyers. That means if you receive one of the first R2s off the line, your car will not have the hardware needed for the most advanced self-driving features Rivian is planning down the road. If autonomy is a major factor in your purchase decision, that's a real consideration worth weighing carefully. Production begins at Rivian's factory in Normal, Illinois in Q2 of 2026, with the company targeting between 20,000 and 25,000 deliveries before the end of the year. Reservations are currently open in the US for a $100 deposit. So, is the Rivian R2 the EV America has been waiting for? Based on everything we know right now, it might genuinely be. It takes the things that made the R1S one of the most beloved electric vehicles ever built, the design, the adventure DNA, the technology, the performance, and delivers them in a smaller, lighter, more accessible package at roughly half the price.
It has the power to embarrass sports cars at a traffic light, the range to handle road trips without anxiety, the interior to make every commute feel like the beginning of an adventure, and the smart engineering to make ownership straightforward for the long haul. The R2 represents something the American EV market has been desperately needing: a well-designed, genuinely capable electric vehicle from an exciting brand that isn't Tesla, at a price that starts to feel like a real option for a wide range of American families. If Rivian can deliver on the promise, and early prototype drives suggest they absolutely can, the R2 could be one of the defining vehicles of this decade. If you found this video helpful, drop a like, leave a comment telling me whether you'd consider the R2 over a Tesla Model Y, and subscribe if you want to follow along as we track the R2 through its official launch later this spring. I'll catch you in the next one.